I realize I haven't commented much the last couple of weeks and stuff, and here it is, the last day of September, and I guess I want to note a little bit about a couple of deaths in the news. One was Pete Rose, who died earlier today in Las Vegas. He was 83, and I'm not sure why they want to do an autopsy of him at that age, but apparently no cause of death was given. But he was one of these people that has all this going for him, and he was one of the best in his sport of baseball, but he fucked it up. He was a gambling addict. He had other vices, and it not just destroyed him as a baseball manager, but it ruined his chances for the Hall of Fame. And no, I don't think he'll ever get in, because they would have to let Shoeless Joe Jackson and a bunch of others who were barred from the Baseball Hall of Fame. So it's not going to happen. So he disgraced himself, and that was like 35 years ago. So it's been a long time ago. And the people that make excuses for him are the same people who poo-poo Lance Armstrong. When Lance Armstrong flagrantly cheated in pro cycling, specifically the Tour de France. Oh, and everybody else did it. It was okay, he did it. And it's just disgusting. It's repellent that people have that kind of attitude. So anyway, that was him. And I'll have a link to that. So it was like ESPN here about him. And then Chris Christopherson, who was a singer, and well, I put that in quotes, singer-songwriter and actor and a lot of other things. He died yesterday or Saturday at the age of 88. And I remember back in 2012, my late sister, had a couple of free tickets that she got through her employer to attend a free, not a free concert, but attend a Christopherson concert at Jacksonville's Brit Festival. And, it was a good show. I mean, he couldn't sing his way out of a paper bag. And at that time, he was 76 years old, so you have to cut him a lot of slack there. But even when he was younger, he wasn't much of a singer. But it was just him and his guitar, as I remember. He didn't have any backup band. And he just seemed like he was a damn nice guy. He certainly was a high achiever. He'd gone to Pomona College, and then he got that Rhodes Scholarship. But he was a superior athlete. He even got mentioned in Sports Illustrated. He was a really good writer. He was so good. He was so good that he got published in the Atlantic, and I think he was something like 17 or 18. So he did all this stuff. I mean, by the time he was 21, he did more than a lot of people do in a lifetime. And so he was planning to be a writer, and then he decided on music. And then he did some acting. But anyway, I think he was a heck of a good guy. That's the impression I got when I saw him in person. And he talked about how, he dated Janis Joplin for a time. And he really spoke highly of her. And I thought that was kind of nice. I mean, she couldn't sing worth a shit either. But it seems like she was a genuinely nice person. She just, just had a lot of problems that she never got help for. But it was really just kind of a touching tribute he did to her at that concert. But anyway, I just thought I'd note those two deaths. And I also want to note that maybe, just maybe, Congress will get off its ass and repeal those offsets, those Social Security offsets that affect people like me, and especially the windfall elimination provision. And I've talked about that. And anyway, they had a discharge petition, so they didn't have to go through committee in the House. So now it's on the House floor. But, you know, the big asterisk is that our Congress is now on recess until after the election. They'll come back, I think, around the 12th or something. So they will take this up. Trouble is, it has to go through the Senate. And what's going to happen there? You know, lame duck session of Congress. And if it doesn't pass that, they got to go through this crap again. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever see that extra $120 a month that I would get. I'm not sure I'll ever see it. But anyway, they did decide on that. They had like 318 co-sponsors, so they were able to bypass committees and garbage like that. And then there was, a Georgia judge just invalidated that state's draconian abortion law. And he used some good arguments. He basically held up the intent, if not the letter, of Roe v. Wade. So he talked about women have the right to an abortion up till viability. And the thing that he talked about in this decision, let's see if I can feel. I don't think they ever claim. I don't think they ever cared about the fetus anyway. Even here, the state insists the calculus is simple and the answer clear. The fetal right to life must always trump the woman's right to make her own decisions. That's just reduced into a thing. As to her health and well-being, as what could be more fundamental than the right to life? Setting aside the very real scenarios in which continuing the pregnancy does threaten the woman's right to life, the state's life versus liberty juxtaposition is simply not apt. For the Life Act, I guess that's the law, criminalizes a woman's deeply personal and private decision to end a pregnancy at a time when her fetus cannot enjoy any legislatively bestowed right to life independent of the woman carrying it. Yeah, I mean, it's literally a part of her body. Put differently, the uncontroverted evidence from the trial of this case is that a pre-viability fetus survives only through the woman choosing or being forced by law to carry at least to the 22nd or 23rd week of her pregnancy. Unlike a newborn baby or a catatonic elder, both of whom our society should and does support if family and friends have stepped back from their expected role as caregivers, for a pre-viability fetus, there is no one else who can assume that that woman's role and keep the pregnancy alive and healthy during those 5 long months. And it says that it infringes upon a woman's fundamental rights to make her own health care choices and decide what happens to her body, with her body, and in her body. The act must serve a compelling state interest and narrowly tailored to achieve that end. So this is very similar to Roe. But I'll put a link to this decision here. So that was good. And yeah, and he notes here, the question then is whether she should now be forced by the state via the Life Act to do so, to have that baby. She should not. Women are not some piece of collectively owned community property, the disposition of which is decided by majority vote. Forcing a woman to carry an unwanted, not yet viable fetus to term violates her constitutional rights to liberty and privacy, even taking into consideration whatever bundle of rights the not yet viable fetus may have. This is all the yakking about divorce, repealing no-fault divorce, all of this yakking about taking away contraceptives, all this yakking about even repealing the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote because they tend to vote Democratic. All of that is shit that's being tried in countries, or actually isn't being tried. It is being done in countries like Afghanistan. So, the choice is clear who the hell you should be voting for. And it sure as hell isn't Donald Trump. So, whether you like it or not, that's what you got. You either got Harris or you've got Trump. And Harris is clearly the better choice. And hopefully she runs the table on all of the swing states. And everything's breaking her way. The only concern I have is when Bush, why do I say Bush? When Trump goes down to defeat, what his fanatical followers will do next, if anything. That's the scary part. But I'm telling you, this is scary damn shit. These religious nuts will not stop. So even if Harris wins in November and Project 2025 is rejected, it's going to keep coming back and coming back. And they're going to keep running these fascists, these religious nuts, until they get their way. Speaking of which, I guess, I haven't seen her thing. Rachel Maddow talked about, apparently tonight, about this speech that Vance gave a couple of years ago about how the universities are the enemy. And now it's all about getting rid of colleges and universities. I mean, I've heard this shit for 50 years with the right. Because, again, they're young people tend to question things. And that's not good for business. They want compliant people. They don't want people asking questions. They don't want people forming unions. They don't want people who might make a difference in the world. They just want compliant drones and basically cut off education, especially for women, right? They want to restrict it because the rich, it's only for the rich and their kids to go to college. Everybody else is going to be a fucking drone in service to the rich. And J.D. Vance is a crackpot. So is Trump. So is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House. They're all a bunch of damn crackpots. And Vance and Johnson are of that Reconstructionist, Christian Reconstructionist ilk that seek to completely undermine our democracy, do away with it, and put in a fascist dictatorship. And women are part and parcel of that. They want to take away women's rights completely. So you're just going to be a thing to screw, and a thing to bear babies, and to be a little homemaker. And that's all. That's because you're considered stupid. And that goes back to the myth of Adam and Eve that never happened. And they think women can't lead. So I look at things like Right Wing Watch that excerpts a lot of these preachers and stuff and politicians, and they just throw a fit about Kamala Harris, and she's a Jezebel. They say the same damn thing about Hillary Clinton, exact same words. It's because they're women, and women aren't supposed to lead. So anyway, and it's all MRA stuff, basically. Vance is basically an MRA. He's pandering to that. But anyway, it's scary damn shit what's coming down the pike. And tomorrow night's supposed to be the vice presidential debate. And I hope that Walz will challenge Vance on this thing about the universities. I mean, and apparently colleges and universities can revoke a degree. And Yale, where Vance went to law school, they've only ever revoked one degree in its entire 300 and some year history. And that is Bill Cosby's honorary degree. Not an earned degree, but an honorary degree. They revoked that. So, are they going to revoke J.D. Vance's law degree? We'll find out. Probably not. But anyhow, that's about it for me to talk about a few things, rambling on and stuff. So, anyway, it's nice weather here, even though it's technically fall, but I don't like the shorter days. And anyway, that's going to be it for me.